Hey guys, I'm Urizi. This story is all about what if Naruto and the rise of the Uzumaki clan. The world believed that the Uzumaki were extinct and completely forgot about them. After years of laying low, they will re-emerge and make themselves known again to deliver vengeance to those who sought to destroy their family. Being descendants of the sage, it is also their task to keep the balance in the world by peace and war. Before we proceed with the story, please like and subscribe to this channel if you liked the video, and don't forget to check the description for the other works of the author if you liked the story. Let's start. Chapter 15, The Whirlpool Princess. I am Uchiha Shisui. Naruto narrowed his eyes, his stance told everyone he was prepared for a fight. Explain quickly. I nor Kurama-chan do not recognize you. She doesn't recognize your signature. Even if I didn't have shinobi training back then, Kurama-chan was with me and would have recognized your chakra and remembered. The beast sealed inside Yotakata gasped. Kurama? I see now. That was why he addressed you as brother earlier, Yotakata. I was also too shocked it did not even register in my head. The teen simply remained silent as he listened to the two's conversation. His three rescuers still kept their Biju cloak active. I understand. Nodded Shisui. Well, for starters, I was one of the Daimyo's personal guards. The first time I saw you was 2 hours after you were born. I paid a short visit to you and your mother at the hospital back in Uzushio. I gave you a raven plushie as a gift. Although I believe it has been destroyed when Fugaku kidnapped you. The second and last time I saw you was that day you were rescued and brought back to Uzushio. I participated during the raid. I was sent on a long-term mission by the Daimyo after I visited you at the hospital. I had no idea what was happening while I was away. I just found out from localins about Uzu's downfall and the Kyuubi's attack at Konoha. At that moment I knew there was something wrong. I abandoned my current mission and went to Whirlpool to investigate. I knew the Uzumakis were strong. Even a joint strike force from Kumo, Iwa, and Kiri would still not be enough to bring them down. I lingered there for weeks until your grandfather finally showed up. That was when I discovered about your clan's dojutsu. He had me interrogated by the Hell's Head. Back then your clan and I didn't know about Konoha having a part on the recent events. I was simply told not to tell everyone about Uzushio's current state, and I was ordered to resume the mission the Daimyo-sama assigned to me. I was away for 4 years and reported back to Uzu instead of Konoha since I was informed that the Daimyo had been brought back to life. I remained there and entered the academy for Jonins. A few months before your 5th birthday I graduated and enlisted as a storm operative. 2 weeks after the raid I was sent back to Konoha to work as a spy. Konoha did not suspect me of anything since I had the mission files requested by Daimyo-sama and was reinstated as an umbu. I see now. Naruto said as he deactivated his chakra cloak. I do remember seeing a raven plushie in my crib while I was watching my memories. Shisui nodded and then smirked. If you want, I can give you a new raven plushie to replace the destroyed one. Naruto grinned. Thanks, but no. I prefer a fox plushie. Kurama and the others laughed at his statement. Alright then, I'll give you a fox plushie on your birthday. I'll look forward to that. Anyway, what brought you and your team here? Why were you attacking my brother? Shisui nodded and bowed to Yotakata. I apologize about earlier. I had to act along. I was just waiting for you to kill some of them while I kill the rest. But Naruto-kun here and his friends took care of them. Anyway, Shisui then turned to Naruto. The Hokage and the council have gone restless. Without a Jinchuriki, they felt that Konoha was threatened. When the second to the latest bingo book was released, Danzo recognized Yotakata-san as a Jinchuriki. After a lot of pressuring, the Hokage finally agreed and gave the order to capture him. And now we're here. Okay, seriously, who are you people? Yotakata asked. Oh, right. Hehe, sorry. I'm Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. I'm Uzumaki Fu, Jinchuriki of the Nanabi. I'm Sabaku Nogara, Jinchuriki of the Ichibi. I'm Uchiha Shisui, also known as Shisui of the body flicker technique. Anyway, it will be too troublesome for us to explain everything. So we'll just let you have a view of our memories instead. Naruto said as he finished making seals. Demonic Arts, Sands of Time. About 40 minutes later, they finished viewing Naruto, Fu, and Gaara's memories. So, yeah. Now you know about us and why we're here. Naruto finished. I see. Saiken-san tells me the jutsu was not a genjutsu but was real and created by demons, hence the name. I believe you and the memories you showed me. It seems that we all had the same life as Jinchuriki. We were betrayed and were made outcasts. But we found sanctuary in Uzumaki. Fu said. Come with us, brother. Naruto said. You can start a new life there. Yes. Gaara agreed. No more you will be chased by hunter-nins. Shisui decided to help the three persuade the teen and said, you now know about Konoha after you. My team isn't the first and won't be the last to come after you. Other villages will also send teams after you so they could use you as their weapon. You've seen how Jinchuriki are treated in Uzumaki. They are treated there as normal beings. Most village treat your kind as a pariah and only see you as a demon and a weapon. Hey, I've already made my mind while we were watching their memories. I want to be with my siblings. Although the decision is still up to you. Saiken told his host. I see your point and understand about my status. It is true that you are not the last to come after me. I'm coming with you, Naruto. I want to join Uzumashio's shinobi force as well. Naruto grinned and then tackled the teen into a hug. That's great. That means I'll have another sibling. Haha. Yotakata, after a long time, once again smiled. He patted the boy's head and returned the hug. Hey. We're your siblings too. Fu said as she joined the hug and also pulled Gaara. You're joining the group hug, lil bro. Ha ha ha. When they parted, they all stared at Shisui. So. Naruto began. What now? Well, I can't just return there unscathed while my comrades are dead. They might get suspicious. So, how about a little spar? Heh. You're on. Said Naruto, making an evil face. Let's dance. Shisui gulped as he saw his ancestor Madara's face into Naruto, as if he was channeling his spirit. He once again activated his manga Kyoshirin as he knew this will not be a normal spar. Naruto came at him fast and without warning. Thanks to his eye, he was able to foresee his movement and was able to parry a downward slash. Naruto attempted to jab and was blocked by Shisui's left arm. Naruto kicked the Uchiha in the chest and jumped back. Shisui regained himself and this time charged at the blonde. During their fight they were on a stalemate. Naruto was using his chakra-empowered taijutsu attacks to damage his opponent while Shisui was using his mangakyo to be able to read the blonde's attacks and avoid them. They were able to land hits at each other during their mixed taijutsu and kenjutsu match. Naruto jumped back and decided to level things up. He decided to show Shisui the technique that gave him his title of Juggernaut in the bingo book. He quickly unsealed his 6 swords and caught them, immediately going into his dance of 6 deaths stance. 6 swords? Could this be? Shisui thought. Naruto gave him an evil smile saying, here I come. The boy came at him dancing with his 6 swords. Naruto came at Shisui spinning while also channeling chakra to his elemental swords. Shisui now had trouble dodging the boy's attacks as his eyes could no longer predict his movements. After receiving multiple cuts, he finally decided that he was no match against his kind of style. Naruto was simply a whirling instrument of death with the 6 different elemental chakras crackling around him. Shisui jumped back and signaled for Naruto to stop. Okay, I concede. You win this spar. I was having fun. Naruto pouted. Haha. Very funny, Naruto-kun. They all laughed at Naruto's childish behavior while the boy made faces. Anyway, it was very nice to meet you all. I will be going back to report to Konoha now. You can have their bodies for investigation or something. Shisui said, indicating at the fallen leaf umbu. After he left, the 4 Jinchurikis also headed back to Uzu after sealing the corpses. They got more acquainted with each other along the way. Uzumaki. They arrived at Whirpool nighttime. The 3 reported to the Uzukage about their mission and also deposited the leaf umbu's corpses for further investigation. Yotaka was taken to another room for a short orientation and was later brought to the Uzukaga's mansion to stay for the night. Uzukaga Mansion. The three Jinchuriki entered the mansion and headed to the dining hall. Fu and Gaara were told to come for a simple celebration. Naruto's family were already there waiting for Kushina and Naruto. Sasuke, Hinata, Lee, Yakumo, Shion, and Tairyu were also present. Naruto was the last to enter since he still had to remain at the office to report about his secret mission. As Naruto waved hi to everyone in the room, he was suddenly tackled to the ground. "Master! You're back!" Naruto was confused for a moment until he recognized the person who tackled him as his apprentice, Hotaru. "Oomph! I missed you too, Hotaru-chan." Naruto patted the girl as he tried to stand up. Meanwhile Hotaru was enjoying pressing her face against the boy's chest. They did not notice the Uzukaga and Yotaka also enter the room. Kushina was shocked to see her youngest son on the floor with a girl on top of him. As they finally stood up, Hotaru clung to Naruto's right arm and pressed her body against it. "Master, when are we going to train together? You've been away for a while. You have to train me as soon as possible. I want to become strong like you, Yano." Meanwhile, Naruto's friends and family were stunned and were thinking of the same thing. "Master? Training? Alone? Together? Master?" She called him master. Moments later Naruto's friends dropped to the floor unconscious with nosebleeds. "Oh, shit." They interpreted it wrong. Naruto thought as he began to feel killing intent radiating from his mother and grandmother. "Naruto-kun, I never thought you had it in you." Arashi, Minato, Kaide, and Minako thought and began to giggle perversely. "What the heck?" Yotaka, Narumi, Mio, and Miho thought. Naruto was shaking in fright now as he felt more and more killing intent from Kushina and Tsunade. "Uzumaki namikaze Naruto," whispered Kushina sweetly. Too sweetly, making Naruto gulp in fear. "KK Kachin, BBAACH-chan, II can XP plane. UG got it W wrong. It's not what UUT think." Naruto squeaked as he quickly did hand seals. "Didemo arts, SA sands of tea time." Everyone, including those on the floor unconscious, were pulled into Naruto's jutsu and saw the scene where Hotaru asked Naruto to be her master, finally clearing things up. Meanwhile, Kurama was howling with laughter in her cage as her host was redder than a tomato. "Wahahaha! Kami-sama, that was priceless. Ha ha ha. I've never seen you that scared before. And your face. Ha 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 ha." Hotaru finally caught up and understood what made everyone act up. Soon images of her and Naruto filled her mind doing some things. Such as Naruto being the master punishing her for being a bad student. Hotaru also fell to the floor with an even bigger nosebleed. Naruto just sighed and bowed his head in embarrassment. After being mercilessly teased by everyone, they finally had dinner. The next day. Konoha. The Hokage was currently drinking his morning cup of coffee when an Umbu appeared in front of his desk. "Good morning Hokage-sama." Raven returning from secret mission. Sarutobi raised his eyebrows as he noticed he was alone. The young Umbu's clothes had blood stains and cuts. He noticed that Shisui was a bit winded. "Very well. Report. Mission was a failure Hokage-sama. We were able to track the Six-Tails Jinchuriki and battled against him. As we were about to put him under a powerful genjutsu, we were suddenly attacked by 3 more Jinchurikis. Sarutobi spat his coffee upon hearing him. 3 more Jinchurikis. Hi. Please continue with your report. Hi. As we were about to subdue the target, we were attacked by 3 more Jinchurikis. We were able to identify one of them as the Juggernaut. We were taken by surprise and 3 from my team were immediately killed by them. The 3 of us remaining had no choice but to retreat. But as we were retreating, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki caught up to us and we were forced to battle. He used the same Kenjutsu style he used against Hoshigaki Kisame and easily defeated us. My 2 comrades wished for me to escape while they held him back so I could go back here and report what happened." The Hokage rubbed his eyes while he processed the information. "Can you tell me what tailed beast the other 2 had or at least describe them?" "I'm sorry, Hokage-sama. But they were all covered by their chakra cloak and all three of them only had one tail active, so we could not tell them apart. We were only able to recognize the Juggernaut because of his Kenjutsu style. I see. Go to the hospital to have your wounds treated. I'm giving you a day off. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Shisui bowed before he left in a fire shunshin. It is clear now. Either Kumo or Iwa have the Kyubi in possession. They are the only villages known to have two Jinchurikis. Damn it. Now they also have the Rokubai. Sarutobi angrily thought. Uzushiagakur. Uzukage office. Naruto-kun, I'm giving you and your team a special mission. Since the Whirlpool Princess have become famous, many movie producers have been requesting for its author to give them an audience. Of course, they do not know where to send their letters exactly, so they made advertisements via flyers and radio telecast. You will be having an audience with the writer and director of Princess Fuyun. Have you three seen the movie yet? Hi. Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata chorused. Good. That makes it better. You see, the director of this movie was a former Konoha shinobi. He was good friends with me and your father. We fought alongside him during the Second Great Shinobi War. What's his name? Asked Naruto. Gaku. You fought alongside a Super Saiyan. That's awesome. Naruto suddenly screamed, making everyone including the hidden storm in the room sweat drop. Seriously, Naruto-kun, could you be any denser? Kurama asked exasperated. Kushina tried her best not to smack her son on the head. Sometimes he still acted like a small child despite his status as an S-rank shinobi in the bingo books. No, Naruto-kun. Kushina sighed. He just happened to be named the same as him. She said, making Naruto pout in disappointment. Anyway, if you're fine with this, then I'm making this an official mission for your team. Of course. I might see the actress Yuki Fujikaze and have her autograph as well. When are we leaving? Naruto excitedly said. You have an hour to pack for a 3 to 5 month duration mission. When you go to Tea Country, you will be dressed as civilian businessman. You will not be asking Gaku-san to return to shinobi service, but you will be asking him for a business partnership with Uzushiagakur instead. You reveal to him about Uzushiagakur when you think it is fine to tell him. The decision is still up to you if you wish to have your book adapted into a movie. Dismissed. Wave Country, Nyozu 4th City. Compared to their situation months before, Wave Country, or as the inhabitants now call it, the 4th City, is now flourishing with life and business. Children ran the streets happily while their parents chatted with each other. People walked to their workplaces or the parks. In the outer inner circle of the city were the houses for the villagers that are mansions and villas. In the outer skirts of the city, stores and trading shops have been opened for non-inhabitants, visitors, and merchants. In the center part of the village were the high-rise buildings for research, schools, and offices for work. In the center most located was the highest and biggest tower that was a 66-story building. In the top, a huge Uzumaki flag could be seen waving freely. About 21 blocks away, 4 44-story towers were built in on top of the buildings. The Uzumaki flags can be also seen. They were located in the northern, southern, western, and eastern part of the main center. On the outermost of the city were 16 more similar towers. The citizens of the 4th city were of course aware of the people visiting there. They knew the faces of each other and can easily recognize who are not from the city. They were aware of spies lurking around. The citizens were of course careful of what they were talking about in public. The spies who have been there for weeks still got nothing as the villagers were tight-lipped. So far the spies only knew of the city's structure. In the 4th city's main gate, a white-haired man could be seen casually approaching. Jiraiya looked around in amazement and wonder as his eyes roamed the buildings from the outside. What caught his attention were the towers that proudly showed the Uzumaki flags on the top. To the outsiders, they will only see the towers as regular buildings, but for the inhabitants, they knew that the towers were strategically positioned for watching the surroundings, for protection, and for defense and offense in case of an attack. When activated, 4 advanced crossbows and a jutsu cannon in the middle will come out from the rooftop. These, of course, are manual and still require people to man. On the top floor down to the middle were windows for the citizens to use as sniper nests, armed with Uzushiagaku's latest crossbow inventions. The tower located in the center of the city served as the command center. Powered by seals, it has radar that can detect living and non-living objects in a mile radius. The researchers in Uzu were of course experimenting and improving their inventions so the weapons can shoot farther and stronger while the towers can gain more visual and radar. Halt! One of the city guards said as he approached the gate. There were 12 in total stationed outside the gate. State your name, status, and your purpose for visiting. Jiraiya noticed 2 huge square-like carriages made of metal that had 3 long barrels. They were positioned near the gate. He wondered what they were for. He sensed 7 people each inside them. Jiraiya of the Chunin, shinobi of Konoha. I am here for a simple visit. News has started to spread about Wave Country's rise to greatness after Gato's demise. I'm a bit interested about the shops here and might do some trading. Very well. Please sign here before you enter. When you leave, you are also required to sign. Here is a map of the city for your convenience. Here is a brochure for our buildings. In there are advertisements for the newly opened shops and centers that may interest you. Oh. That's nice. Thank you. Jiraiya exclaimed as he finished signing and took the brochures. He noticed 4 more of the huge square metal carriages inside the gate. He checked his map and decided to check out the outer buildings first before he went to the inner city. What the visitors did not know, the logbook had a seal. In the command center, there was a similar book. Everything that was written in the logbook from the gate was also recorded in the book there. As Jiraiya's name appeared, one of the front desk officers stood up and headed to one of the portals and was transported to Uzushiagaku. The Uzukage asked them to inform the main city should people from Konoha visit. A minute later the clerk returned to her post. As Jiraiya finished checking out the shops, he decided to visit the innermost city. This time, however, he felt 4 chakra signatures following him. He simply shrugged it off and continued exploring the city. It seems that this place have their own shinobi after all. I thought non-shinobi only lived here. Time skip, 1 week. Tea country. It was 5 in the morning. The streets were not yet crowded but was starting to as people walked for their daily work. 3 hooded figures could be seen walking towards the filmmaker Gaku's studio. As they neared the building, they removed their cloaks. They appeared to be wearing expensive business suits. The one in the middle was blonde and wore aviator sunglasses. The girl beside him was clutching an envelope while the other boy beside him carried a suitcase. Welcome. The building guard said as he motioned for the 3 to enter. Naruto, Hinata, and Sasuke walked towards the front desk. Good morning. Naruto greeted the clerk. Good morning, sir. How may I help you? I'm here on business with Mr. Gaku. For his ears only. The clerk nodded in understanding and informed the people up the studio about them. Since it was still early in the morning, the crew were just setting up and having their morning coffee. Yes, sir. Mr. Gaku will see you now. Please follow me. The 3 were amazed as they saw for the first time what a film studio looked like. A man in his early 40s greeted them. Good morning. How may I be of service? Gaku asked. Good morning, Mr. Gaku. We came here for business. We would like to request for a private room. Please bring Ms. Fujikaze and her manager along. The director then called for the 2 and led the 5 to his office. He asked his guests to sit down and offered them tea. Naruto cleared his throat and spoke. If you don't mind, Gaku-san, I'm going to place a barrier seal so nobody could hear or sense what we are doing here inside. The veteran shinobi narrowed his eyes and shifted into position, preparing to defend himself. Naruto noticed this and raised his hand. You're not in trouble or anything. We're not here to arrest you or assassinate you. We came here for pure business. But you must understand that what we are going to show you is very confidential and are only meant for your eyes and ears. Gaku exhaled in relief and nodded. Uzumaki art, barrier jutsu. The director's eyes widened when he heard the word Uzumaki. Naruto sat down after placing the barrier. He took a sip from his teacup and got started. First of all, my name is Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto. With me are my teammates and best friends, Uzumaki Hyuga Hinata and Uzumaki Uchiha Sasuke. Uzumaki Namikaze. Gaku almost choked on his drink as the blonde introduced themselves. Naruto held out his hand in a motion to keep the director from interrupting while he spoke. We came here on two purposes. 1. Uzumaki Gakuer wishes to invest their money into your film industry. The other one, I, Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, the author of the Whirpool Princess, have come here to discuss about you adapting it into a movie. More revelations. Gaku was trying hard not to faint on the spot. Uzumaki Gakuer? The Whirpool Princess? He is the author? These three are Uzumakis, and the one speaking looks a lot like Minato. Meanwhile, Koyuki was blushing madly. He is the author of that book? And he's only the same age as I. Now that we're done with the introductions, let us get on with the explanation. Naruto said as he began weaving hand seals. Demonic arts, sands of time. As the jutsu was called, the 6 people in the room were immediately pulled into a dreamscape. Like the last time back in Mount Katsuragi, Naruto showed them about the past. Konoha's betrayal, the attack on Uzumaki, Naruto's kidnapping, his life in Konoha, and his life when he was brought back to his homeland. They watched the memories up to the point where they arrived at Gaku's studio. The 3 Chunins sat in silence as they waited for Gaku, Yuki, and Sandayu to absorb everything they just watched. So, Uzumaki Gakuer's still standing strong. Kushina and Minato are alive. And you really are the author of today's #1 selling book. Gaku exclaimed happily as he began shedding tears. You look so much like your father. Oh, Kami-sama, my former village really has fallen. Naruto-kun, forgive me, if I had known, I would have remained in Konoha to look for you. The director said sadly. You do not need to apologize, Gaku-san, nobody knew what was actually happening that time except Konoha's council and higher-ups. Let us look into the bright side now. Right. Gaku said as he relaxed in his seat and finished his tea. The young actress and her manager remained silent as they were deep in thought. He's endured so much. And yet he's here now at his current level. His heart and mind are so strong. He is admired by the people around him. And he used his own story as inspiration for his book. The princess thought. What if these are the people that could help Koyuki-chan overthrow her uncle and reclaim the land of snow? Sandayu thought. After a long silence, the young actress finally spoke. Naruto-sama. No, just Naruto would be fine. Alright. Naruto-kun. Koyuki stuttered. Damn it, Naruto-kun. Don't you think your fan club's already big? Kurama thought to herself. Anyway, I have something to tell you. Gaku-san already knows about this. The name Fujikaze Yuki is only a name I used for my own protection. I am in hiding from people who wishes to kill me and claim a key that I currently possess. My real name is Kazuhana Yuki. Naruto widened his eyes as he recognized the girl. You're the missing princess. How did you know? Sandayu asked. Only the people from our land knew about her identity. As the son of the Uzukage, there are times when I attended and listened to the council meetings. My mother and the council were actually looking for Yuki no Kuni's missing princess and wishes to offer the country's services to eliminate Doto and give you back the throne. Ever since I turned 5, Uzumaki Gakuer have been looking for you. But since we had no idea how you looked like, it was hard to get some leads. Naruto explained. Sasuke and Hinata remained silent and kept their surprise to themselves. They had no clue what Naruto and the actress were talking about. I see. Sandayu nodded. So, you're going to help us? The young princess asked hopefully. Excuse us, but can someone please explain what's going on? Sasuke asked, a bit annoyed. Hinata nodded in agreement as she too was confused. Right. Sorry about that. Anyway, my real name is Kazuhana Koyuki. I am the daughter of the late Snow Daimyo, Kazuhana Sosetsu. When I was 3, my uncle, Doto, murdered my father and took over the country. I, along with Sandayu and a few guards, managed to escape the country while my father's loyal followers remained to cover our escape. For years we had to travel constantly as my personal guards got killed one by one until Sandayu and I were the only ones left alive. When we arrived here, we were found by Gaku-san and put us under his protection. Having traveled to a lot of places before, he recognized me and helped me hide from my pursuers. My uncle wanted to hunt me because I held the crystal that was the key for the Yuki no Kuni's treasure. Sandayu and I decided to stay with Gaku-san while I worked as an actress. The money I earn will be used to hire an army to help me reclaim what is rightfully mine and kill my uncle. It seems that our simple mission has turned into an S rank. Sasuke smirked, making Hinata smirk as well. Naruto had a creepy look on his face. So you're going to help us? Sandayu asked. Of course. Replied Naruto. The princess threw herself on top of Naruto and sobbed on his chest while hugging him tightly. Thank you, and thank you. Yup. She's definitely one of them. Kurama mumbled to herself. Naruto returned the hug and patted the girl. After a few minutes, everyone was seated properly again. I'm going to send a letter to my mother and inform her about you. For now, we talk about what we came here for. Naruto said. Gaku-san, Uzushi Gakuer wants to get involved with the movie industry. The country wants a partnership with your company. Should you agree, we will give you 1 billion yen as investment. Gaku, Koyuki, and Sandayu's eyes bulged as they heard the amount. 1 billion. The director nearly fainted. No, he did actually fell to the floor 3 seconds later. After he regained consciousness, he went back to his seat. The three Chunins were looking at him in amusement. 1 billion, you say? He asked. Yes. Should you agree to the partnership, Uzushi Gakuer will receive 30% of the company's income. We will start receiving the share a year after the agreement. Hinata then laid down her envelope on the table and opened it. She took out some papers and gave them to the director to read. After signing the papers, Hinata took the papers back and gave Gaku his copy of the contract. Finished with the deal, Sasuke laid out the suitcase he was carrying and revealed its contents to the director. Here's your 1 billion yen. Sasuke said. After counting the money, Gaku nodded and closed the suitcase. Right. On to the next matter. I have agreed about your desire to adapt my book into a movie. I have already signed the papers and the contract, so you'll just have to sign it. Instead of sharing it to Uzushio's bank, I will be receiving 30% of the movie's earnings. While filming, I will be present to assist with the making. I will be personally choosing who's going to play as the main character. And my choice, of course, is Koyuki Hime. The actress blushed at the way Naruto addressed her affectionately. Sandayu smiled to himself as he watched the princess' face turn redder than a tomato. Hinata, although used with Naruto's charms, still blushed red as she handed Gaku and Koyuki the contracts. After signing the contract, Hinata took the signed papers and gave Gaku and Koyuki copies of the contract. Now, Gaku-san, you are almost finished filming Princess Fuyun, right? Would you mind if we stayed to watch the filming of the remaining scenes? Asked Naruto. Of course not. My company and Uzushi Gakuer are business partners now. We have 3 remaining scenes to be filmed here in Tea Country. After that, we will film on a snowy area for the final part of the movie. That just sounds great. I suggest you do the filming in the land of snow. We will sail for Yuki 10 days for now. What do you have in mind? You know that Yuki-chan's not welcome there at the moment. It's going to be a party. Naruto said, smirking evilly and scaring everyone. He looked at the princess and said, Koyuki-chan, I suggest you begin writing your speech. 3 weeks from now, you are going to face Yuki no Kuni's people as its daimyo. Konoha Gakuer. Konoha Council. Hiruzen, Danzo, Jiraiya, Koharu, Homura, and the shinobi clan heads were currently gathered to discuss about the latest events. I would like to thank everyone for coming here on short notice. Jiraiya here has news that concerns our village and all other villages. Said the Hokage. Jiraiya, please tell us your report. The white-haired Chunin nodded and began speaking. As we all know, Gato, one of the richest person in the elemental nations, have been mysteriously killed. Everything related to him and his businesses have vanished, or destroyed. I have managed to track his last whereabouts and that lead me to Wave Country. Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto was also last seen in Wave Country chasing a fleeing Hoshigaki Kisame. After a lot of investigation, I found out that Gato was the one responsible for the Wave Daimyo's death. Gato took over Wave Country and leached its riches. Under his rule, the country became poor. The man had an army of mercenaries serving him. Including them were Kirigaku's 7 swordsmen and Taki's S-class missing Ninkakuzu. After some more investigation, I found out that the 7 swordsmen except Kisame were murdered. A few days after Gato's death, Wave Country started to rebuild. I visited the reconstructed city last week, and from what I have seen, the buildings are all high class. The city consisted of high-rise buildings and huge houses. To think that it had been only less than 6 months, they have managed to get back on their feet that fast. Impossible! Interrupted Inyazuka-tsame. That would have required a lot of money and resources. Even if the people of Wave were good at construction, a half year would not be enough. The buildings you are talking about is not possible. Sure, the country might have resources, but from how you describe it, it would have required a lot more. I wasn't done talking. Jiraiya shouted, annoyed that he was interrupted. Anyway, you're correct. Wave would require more manpower and more resources in order to reconstruct their ruined village into a prosperous city. So you're saying? Wave had help, yes. But from who? Asked the Hokage. The Uzumaki clan. Gasps filled the whole room. Sarutobi, Danzo, and Fugaku fidgeted on their seats. But I thought they were all killed during the 3 villages attack. Asked Hayashi. That's what we all thought as well. But when I visited Wave, the Uzumaki clan's flags were everywhere. I'm not sure about their numbers though. I estimate around 30 to 50. That's good news then. Said Uchiha Fugaku. We can ask for an alliance with them once again. I doubt they will accept it. Jiraiya said. Why? Remember the kid this village used to torment? The demon brat. That's Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto to you. More gasps. Now, there's no need to be shocked. You already knew about the boy's heritage. Anyway, I strongly believe that the Uzumakis now know about his treatment while he was here. How? Naruto is probably a shinobi of the new Wave Country. Before everyone could react, there was a loud banging on the door. Open the door for the fire daimyo. A voice shouted opposite the door. Everyone in the meeting room were startled and got nervous. They got a surprise visit from the daimyo. Sarutobi fussed on his robes and quickly stood up to open the door. The others also stood up to welcome the Fire Lord. As soon as the door opened, 4 red samurais entered the room and inspected the area for potential danger. Seeing none, they motioned for the other samurais outside to come in. 2 samurais entered followed by the fire daimyo. 6 more entered the room after their master. The room was a bit crowded now. Sarutobi motioned for the daimyo to take the middle seat. As soon as he was seated, he procured his fan and cooled himself. The Hokage cleared his throat and spoke. To what do we owe the pleasure of your visit, Daimyo-sama? I won't be here for long. I just came here to tell you that earlier this morning, I and the other daimyos of other countries had been gathered by Wave's new daimyo for a meeting. He told us that their country now officially have their own ninja village. And is being run by a forgotten clan. As of now, Wave Country is no longer called Wave Country. It is now Uzushiagaku, or the village hidden among whirlpools. Chapter 16, The Land of Spring. So it is official then. They're back. Sarutobi thought. I wonder. Do they know about Konoha's betrayal? If not, there is a chance for Konoha to ally itself with the Uzumakis once again. Thought Danzo. No. They're supposed to be dead. Fugaku thought angrily. The Uchiha clan shall be the last clan standing. We have successfully wiped out the Senjutsu. I'm going to do everything I can to completely wipe out the Uzumakis. Troublesome. More meetings will sure come after this. Narashikaka thought. The fire daimyo merely watched the Leaf Council sit in silence as they absorbed the latest news. There's more to that. It was not only the Wave Daimyo who came to the meeting but the Rice Daimyo and leader of the village we used to know as a Megakure as well. There's another? Asked the Hokage. Yes. The Rice Daimyo have informed us that they also now have their own shinobi village, which is called Otagakure. Their country will be now called the Land of Sound instead the Land of Rice. Who's their leader? Asked Homura. The Snake Sunin, Orochimaru. More gasps. He's the Otokage now. His past crime for being a missing nin will be now forgiven. Any form of threat against him or the Land of Sound will be considered an act of war. HMPF. Even if that happens, they will easily lose since they have just constructed. Scoffed Koharu. That, my dear elder, is where you are wrong. The Land of Sound have been established 6 years ago, and finally chose to make itself known this morning. Danzo then chose to ask something he had been wondering about since earlier. Daimyo-sama, if you'll excuse me, what was that you were talking about a Megakure? Ah, yes. That. Thank you for asking. I almost forgot about that. Hehe. Anyway, the Land of Rain as we know it is no longer called by that name. It is now a part of Uzushiagakure. A lot more gasps. The current Uzukage is an Uzumaki survivor who goes by the name Pain. Almost 6 years ago, he along with his followers managed to win the Civil War. Civil War. Yes. You do not know about the Civil War. A Megakure have closed itself from the outside world and kept things to itself, keeping outsiders away. The security was very high that time. As I was saying, the country was torn apart by a civil war. One side was Hanzo the Salamanders while the other one was Pain's. After gaining the support of majority of the village, Pain finally decided to end the tyranny rule once and for all. He easily defeated Hanzo on a one-on-one battle in front of everyone. After that, a Megakure strengthened its barriers to keep the outside world unaware of what was happening inside. The village rebuilt itself from being a wasteland. The same year Otagakure was founded, the civil war in Ame ended. During the meeting this morning, the Uzukage have made its appearance. He along with the Wave Daimyo, or as we call him now, the Whirpool Daimyo, explained to us why there were 2 Uzushiagakures. The one that was the former Megakure is still a closed city. They explained that that is where they train their shinobis and where other military-related subjects were. The other Uzushiagakure which is located in Wave, is where we find most of its civilians. There will be a number of shinobis stationed there but most of them are in Ame. Now, to remove the confusion, they told us to simply call the former Megakure Uzushiagakure's 3rd city while the former Wave be called Uzushiagakure's 4th city. Why 3rd and 4th? They say the 1st city was built and was abandoned before the 1st Shinobi War. The 2nd city was the one destroyed during the Kumo Iwakiri Alliance's attack. You might be wondering why they are separated. The reason is to keep the civilians away from harm in case of war. The Wave Daimyo told us that should any form of threat befall upon the 4th city, the 3rd city will throw everything against those responsible. Before anything foolish come into your heads, I must warn you not to do anything against Uzushiagakure. Now that I believe I have told you everything, I will take my leave. After the daimyo left, Danzo, Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and Fugaku shared looks, silently scheduling for a secret meeting. Time skip, 3 days later. Uzushiagakure. Uzushiagakure shorelines. This year's graduates along with the other Chunins, Jounins, and Storm were currently waiting for their leader to address them. 3 days ago, Naruto informed the Uzukage about their team finally having found Yuki no Kuni's missing princess. A council meeting had been called immediately. After the meeting, the squad that was deployed in snow have been informed of what was going to happen. For the past 2 days, capable personnel from the main city up to the 4th city have been handpicked and amassed. Right now, there were 21,000 shinobis gathered at the shorelines composed of Chunins, Jounins, and Storm. About 30 warships were docked composed of cruisers, heavy carriers, long-range battleships, and 1 command ship, all waiting for deployment. Those who will be operating the ships and the tanks aren't counted. The Uzukage stood on a watchtower, her voice amplified by the surrounding radio towers. For the past 12 years Uzushiagakure have kept silent and hidden from the world. We have trained in extremes to become much stronger and performed research for advanced weapon rise and machineries. As of now we are the only nation with advanced warships made of metal. Others own ships that are only made of wood. Our buildings' designs are superb and high class, and are very strong. We have trained to become stronger than ever. And now we finally re-emerge from laying low. We have foreseen the great benefits we will acquire if we made an alliance with Snow. And so, for the past 8 years we have been looking for the Snow Country's missing princess. After the long years of searching, we finally found her. And now we will help her overthrow her uncle and destroy his mercenary army. This will be the first test of our military power and research. Now that we are officially back, Doto of Snow Country and his followers will be the first to taste our power. The Uzumaki said. Kushina then motioned for Narumi, Minako, Mio, and Miho. My children will be leading you for this battle. You will sail today for Snow Country and make contact with the squad sent there ahead and the rebels. Once the princess reaches the country, Uzushio will strike. Make our village proud. Let the world know of our power once again. Rise, Uzushio. To battle! To battle! The army roared as they marched and went on board on their assigned ships. Naruto's classmates, with the exception of the Sand siblings and the Sound 4, boarded another ship that will serve as the princess ship. They will be sailing for Tea Country while the fleet headed for Snow. Soon the shorelines were filled with the sounds of warships being powered to life, releasing steam. The command ship blew out a long and deep blast, indicating for the fleet to move out. Tea Country. And cut. Well done. 2 more scenes left. Goku clapped happily. Naruto and his teammates sat as they watched the filming. He telepathically informed Sasuke and Hinata that a ship from Uzu was currently sailing for Tea Country while a fleet is headed for Snow. As the crew began packing off, Goku, Yuki, and Sandai walked towards the 3. I just got news from Uzu. Our transport ship is now sailing towards here. It will arrive in 2 to 3 days. After filming the final scene for this place, we will immediately sail for the land of Snow. Understood? Replied Goku. I'll go inform my crew. We will be filming a few scenes while sailing. Uzushio. Uzukage office. Uzukage-sama, Minato-sama, Sai along with Fu and Torin are here. Please let them in. Hi. While Danzo was still in a coma, Minato and Kushina personally removed every root Umbu's seal. Majority of them were thankful and swore new allegiance to Uzushio while a small number of them remained loyal to Konoha even though they were aware that they had been used. The Konoha loyalists were immediately executed by Minato himself. Right now, Sai was the second in command of Root, appointed by both Minato and Danzo. Danzo have no idea of his followers' change of allegiance and believes he still have Root under his control. Ironically, it was now Minato who leads his organization. Kushina-sama, Minato-sama. Sai said as he and his teammates kneeled. Danzo have ordered Root to expand and increase the patrolled areas. Some members have been ordered to investigate 4th city. Higher-ranking members including my team were assigned to infiltrate the 3rd city in Otagakur. The Hokage have ordered Jiraiya to take over Gato's remaining assets and add them to his spy network. Umbu were also tasked to double and expand their patrols. Bandit camps inside the fire border were to be eliminated. The Hokage have decreased the missions being received in order to keep most of Konoha's forces intact when the Chunin exam begins. Minato nodded and addressed the pale teen. Sai, quickly send a lower-ranking member to blend in with Gato's remaining followers. This will be a good opportunity for us to infiltrate Jiraiya's spy network. Those ordered to infiltrate Oto and 3rd City, inform them to remain outside. Konoha is not the only one that will be sending spies. I will be informing Nagato and Orochimaru about this. I'm not sure about the Otokage, but the 3rd City will be publicly executing those who will be caught infiltrating. Said Kushina. Go now. Inform everyone about your orders. Hi. Time skip, 2 weeks. 50 kilometers away from the land of Snow. The fleet was on standby as they waited for Koyuki's ship to arrive. While they waited, a dozen squads have been sent inland in order to secretly evacuate all civilians to safety. While at it, they also assassinated about 200 of Doto's soldiers and took their chakra armors. There were 100 samurai who were loyal to Sosetsu. They were given the chakra armors for their own added protection when the battle commences. Since they had no shinobi training, it will be great for their defense if they wore the chakra armors. The fleet was currently hidden behind an island covered by mountains. As Naruto's ship joined the fleet, everyone got ready. Koyuki and Sandae were given advanced chakra armors that were taken from 2 enemy lieutenants. The filming crew were also given chakra armors. Gaku have requested the battle to be filmed as well, which is why they will be wearing the armors. Everyone paid attention when Narumi's voice was heard on all ships' speakers. This is your general speaking. We are now sailing towards the shorelines. Infantry, get ready for rapid deployment. Pilots, power up those ships and begin takeoff. Tankers, get in your vehicles. Expect immediate battle once we land. Everyone move to your assigned stations. As the fleet began to move towards Snow Country's shorelines, a dozen airship took off from the heavy carriers. The airships were almost as big as the cruisers. It also had a dozen cannons on each side. The Uzumaki clan's symbol can be easily seen since it was painted on all 4 sides of the ship. Command ship. Fleet 20 kilometers from land. The captain of the command ship shouted. Load the cannons. Narumi ordered through the intercom. 10 kilometers from land. Commence bombardment. Doto's castle. Ever since he took position as Snow Country's leader, he began leeching off its resources. Doto grew paranoid and used the country's money to recruit more people for his army. His mercenary army was now 30,000 strong. Everyone wore chakra armors. The 3 generals, Nadare, Fubuki, and Mizuri, and their lieutenants wore advanced chakra armors. Doto himself wore the latest and the most advanced chakra armor. He planned on eventually taking over the elemental nations once his army was huge enough. Doto was currently sitting at his throne as he listened to his general's reports. My lord, one of my lieutenants have been missing for the past 3 days along with around 50 men, said Mizuri. Fubuki reported the same thing. She too was missing the same number of personnel. I have about 100 men missing as well, said Nadare. Just then, a lieutenant burst inside the main hall and ran towards the man on the throne. My lord. A fleet has been spotted about 40 kilometers from the shorelines. And it's approaching fast. Before anybody could react, there was a huge explosion that shook the castle, followed by another one. And another one. And then another one. The bombardment was continuous. Another lieutenant burst inside screaming his head off. My lord. We're under attack. Nadare, annoyed, shouted. We're aware of that. Give us a status report, you fool. Enemy troops have invaded the shorelines and are advancing towards the castle. Our forces have engaged them to battle, but more enemies are coming off their ships. Do they have a flag? Asked Doto. Yes, my lord. Theirs was a swirl of a whirlpool. Whirlpool. The Uzumaki clan represented that symbol. Aside from them, I don't know any group that have a swirl in their flag. But the Uzumaki clan's supposed to be extinct. Doto and his generals thought. Fubuki, Mizuri. Mobilize your divisions. Prepare for counter-attack and engage the enemy. Nadare, station your division by the castle. Form a perimeter. Man the cannons. Position at the towers. Nadare, take half of Mizuri's troops with you and add them with the defense. Doto ordered. Hi. Main Army's POV. First Division was led by Minako. He led 10,000 of the army. Their task was to engage and eliminate the enemy's initial engaging forces. The other 10,000, which will be the 2nd Division, will be waiting as reserve, led by Narumi. As the Uzu shinobi jumped off the ships, they immediately formed into columns after killing the small defending force. They began charging towards the city and was met by 5,000 mercenaries led by Mizuri. The 1st Division threw out 3 waves of chakra and forced kunais with explosive tags. Mizuri's troops were in disarray as they got bombarded by cannons and now kunais with explosive tags. Even though they wore chakra armor, they still got affected by the attack and lost numbers. His forces began to regroup and merged with Fubuki's division that just arrived. Show them the power of Uzushiagakur. Destroy them all. Minako shouted. The first division gave out a battle cry and clashed with Fubuki and Mizuri's combined forces. The battle plan was simple. Storm operatives will subtly activate their Rinnegan and use the Petra path to absorb all jutsus that will be thrown at them by the enemy, while the rest of the attacking forces overwhelm the enemy with heavy jutsus. Through studying the chakra armors Uzushio was able to acquire years ago, they were able to learn of its weaknesses. The chakra armors had a limit in absorbing incoming attacks and will eventually become a normal clothing. The main weakness was the dish plates in the chest area. If critically hit, the dish plate will malfunction and kill the wearer through electrocution. As the two sides clashed, the second division led by Narumi disembarked from the ships and formed into columns. While the enemies busily fought off the first division, the second division moved in for a pincer attack. Narumi began weaving hand seals as she joined her brother. Narumi engaged Fubuki while Minako fought with Mizuri. Air Force POV. Mio led the Air Force. With her were 500 shinobi. The 12 airships easily flew past the country's forests while the armies clashed below. Enemy camps are in range. The captain said. Good. Bomb the camps and the defensive towers. Destroy their cannons and other defensive systems. Avoid hitting the mountains and the mountainside. Hi. Tank Force POV. While the Air Force swept the camps, Miho led 24 tanks plus the remaining 500 shinobi and entered through the country's emergency tunnels. The tunnels led them straight to the mountainside that were 2 kilometers near the enemy camps. As the tanks came out of the tunnels, they rolled in and began firing at the site. Doto's POV. Doto was at the balcony of the castle while Nadare's division set a perimeter around it. A lieutenant bowed to him and gave the latest status report. My lord. Mizuri-sama and Fubuki-sama's forces are currently engaged with the enemy's main army. Their forces have already suffered heavy losses while the enemy kept pushing on. A dozen airships have flown past our walls and began bombing the camps. 24 huge carriages with cannons came from the mountainside tunnels and swept in the camp, firing waves after waves of explosives and destructive jutsus, annihilating the survivors. Our defensive structures along with the cannons have been destroyed due to heavy bombardment. As he finished his report, he noticed his master glaring at the sky. Everybody looked up and saw 12 huge airships. That's definitely the Uzumaki clan's flag. Doto thought as he recognized Whirlpool's symbol. The army watched in terror as the ship's cannons fired destructive jutsus. The ships hit the towers that were below them. They're aiming for our defensive systems. Defensive barriers. Now! Shouted Nadare. Layers of huge and tall ice domes began to form and protected the castle along with the army inside. They waited in bated breath as they held their defensive barrier. They were surprised when they felt the onslaught against them stop. One brave mercenary went outside the dome to check and was surprised to see the enemy airships flying past their location. Air Force POV. Heh. Idiots. Now you have no idea what's going to happen next. Mio muttered as she watched the army below conjure ice domes. All right. Time to drop below while they are blind. Mio ordered through the intercom. Hundreds of paratroopers jumped off the airships and regrouped with the tank force that were waiting below, hidden in the forests. The twins' POV. Mio's forces merged with her twin brother's forces and concealed themselves. How are things going? Miho inquired. Neichan and Nissan's forces are easily destroying the engaging enemy's forces. The enemy did not expect a pincer move. They should be here soon. Replied Mio. The only defense they have left are the ones by the castle. That's no more than 10 towers. The tanks can easily destroy them later. Miho said. Yo. A voice called through their mental link. Naruto-kun. Hell yeah. We're almost finished here. There's only about 500, Rasengan. Now 499 left here. Narumine and Minakone are hooping the enemy generals' butts. Ha. Take this, Molotov Rasengan. See you guys later. He said as a huge explosion were heard in the background. Outside the twins' mental link, the explosion of Naruto's fire jutsu could be seen as the fire blew up the forests and killed about 50 enemies. Air Force POV. Amazing. This is going to be a hit. We'll be the first company to ever produce a movie taken from an actual war. Woohoo! Cheered by one of the filming crew as their ship flew past the castle and cut the scene. Tank Force POV. Yes. Director's going to love this. Main Army POV. Ha. I can't believe I'm filming a movie while I'm in it. Screamed Goku in delight as he dodged an enemy samurai. Katon, Gokakyu no Jutsu. I still got it. Wahahaha. The director cheered with glee. Narumi's POV. You guys have depended so much on your armors that you have gotten weak. Narumi told Fubuki. Arg. Damn you. Ice release, ice needle blizzard. Fubuki replied with rage. Narumi calmly released a fire dragon from her mouth. The fire dragon easily melted the ice needles and struck Fubuki right in the chest plate of her armor. The two have been fighting for a very long time now. At least to Fubuki, she was fighting. Narumi was merely toying with her opponent while the Uzumaki army destroyed Doto's army. Fubuki was getting more and more frustrated as her division got slaughtered. Whenever she made an attempt to help, Narumi would simply block her path. Whatever jutsu she tried to throw at the female Uzumaki, Narumi would simply absorb it. I'm done playing with you. Narumi said as she held out her arms. Golden chains from her back came out and immediately restrained Fubuki. The chains destroyed the chakra armor while keeping the wearer alive. Fubuki watched helplessly as her once 10,000 soldiers decreased to 100. She gasped in horror as her opponent walked towards her, her red hair flowing like wildfire, the same way the dreaded Red Death's hair did when she slaughtered the Kumo army during the war. Minako POV. Arg. Stupid fat guy and his stupid snowboard. Minako muttered as Misery slid past him with his mechanical snowboard. To Misery, he was winning as he simply fired missiles after missiles from his chakra armor while he sped around his opponent. To Minako, he was simply letting his opponent think he was losing. What Misery failed to notice was his army of 5,000 being reduced to 100 by the Uzumaki army. I guess it's time. Minako thought as he took out a dozen three-pronged kunai and threw them in all directions. Ninpo, kunai kage bunshin no jutsu. Main Army POV. For a whole minute, there were flashes of yellow around the battlefield. It would appear at random locations leaving a trail of dead bodies. Hey! A voice shouted as Minako high-shined in front of Misery and slapped a seal on his armor, disabling it. That was my kill. You took it. Minako chuckled sheepishly as he remembered about Naruto and his classmates' contest of who kills the most. Sorry, Naruto-kun. The brother shouted back. You guys can kill the others stationed at the castle. There are still 10,000 mercenaries reserved as last defense. As Minako flashed everywhere and killed the remaining enemies, the attacking forces regrouped and formed once again into columns. Narumi dragged a restrained Fubuki and set her on a kneeling position. Minako did the same with his opponent, dragging Misery and setting him on a kneeling position beside Fubuki. Fubuki and Misery looked around and inspected the battlefield. Thousands of corpses littered the place, but not a single corpse from the invading forces could be found. What are you guys? You're supposed to be dead when those 3 villages attacked you. How come you're all alive? You destroyed my army. Arg. Fubuki half screamed, half asked Narumi and Minako. Doto and his army POV. Doto-sama. Grave news. Fubuki-sama and Misery-sama's forces have been annihilated. The enemy army are marching towards the castle as of this moment. How could this happen? Doto exclaimed angrily. What of Fubuki and Misery? What happened to them? Nadare asked the scout. Before the scout could respond to their questions, Nadare's soldiers began to shout. Enemy fire! Take cover! Prepare to create domes! No! We'll only blind ourselves. Counter it with jutsus. Fire at it! Ice release, ice dragon missiles! The army shouted as one to deflect the rain of kunai, shuriken, and senbon. The projectiles fell harmlessly to the ground as the ice missiles collided with it. Nadare began weaving hand seals as he jumped off the balcony and charged towards the invading army, creating hundreds of ice wolves beside him. Fubuki-chan, I will avenge you. The mercenary army watched as their general charged at the enemy. Those in the front lines followed after him. What are you waiting for? The enemy army is here. Charge! Doto shouted. His mercenary army gave a battle cry as they charged to meet the invading force. Doto removed his fur cloak to reveal his highly advanced chakra armor. He too began weaving hand seals as he jumped off the balcony and charged at the enemy. Invading forces POV. Someone's eager to die. Naruto commented as he watched Nadare's incoming form. Here they come. Sasuke muttered as he saw the army behind Nadare. Tankers, go get the towers. Minako shouted. Infantry, charge. Ordered Narumi. Ha. Finally. Mio and Miho both said as the army behind them gave a battle cry. Normal POV. The Uzumaki army waited for Doto's army to approach. Nadare and his ice wolves were the first to reach the enemy lines and tried tearing through them. However, he was repelled by a strong ice jutsu from Miho and was sent flying to the army behind him. The twins quickly charged after Nadare and engaged him to a battle. As the enemy got closer, the tanks moved forward and began firing at the incoming army. The tanks weaved through the downed opponents and ran them over. Still moving forward, the tanks approached the enemy towers and obliterated them. Doto's army was in a disarray but immediately regrouped as they felt Doto's presence. Doto Kazuhana smirked and began weaving hand seals and produced black ice dragons, aiming at his opponents. His confident smirk faded as he finally noticed the leaders of the enemy army. Kushina? Minato? No, they're dead. The usurper gathered chakra and tried disrupting his chakra flow. Kai. 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 What is this? This armor's supposed to make me immune to genjutsu. He was too consumed by his current dilemma and was only broken out from his thoughts when a fist connected to his face and sent him flying upwards. Doto was able to make out the image of his attacker as he glanced down before crashing. His opponent was a striking image of the Yondaime Hokage but was shorter and younger. So this is their son. So they're real after all. They're not dead. Focus, you old bastard. Doto glared at the Minato replica for calling him an old bastard. I, Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, will be your opponent. Proclaimed the boy. Ha. Don't be such a fool. You're just a little brat dash. The old man stopped in mid-sentence as he dodged a roundhouse kick from the boy. Naruto did not stop at this but pushed on the offense. He kept on attacking for a whole 5 minutes. During their taijutsu match, both were able to land hits against each other. Thanks to his chakra armor, Doto was able to keep up against the little brat. The little brat, however, had a lot of tricks hidden from his sleeve. Naruto disengaged and quickly formed a single one-handed seal and released his gravity seals. Everyone in the battlefield felt a strong gust of wind and quickly found its source. Damn. Naruto-kun /senpai/Sama's serious. Doto's up for a brutal beating. The Uzumaki army thought as they returned focus to their own respective battles. One of the things Naruto hated the most were traitors. Especially those who betray their own family. I'm going to beat the living shit out of you. Naruto stated as he vanished and instantly reappeared in front of Doto. Kicking him in the stomach and sending him 20 meters high upwards. Up in the air Naruto quickly reappeared beside Doto and kneed him sending the old man flying to the right downwards. 7 meters before he crashed to the ground, Naruto appeared once again and hit him with an uppercut, sending him to the left upwards. Up in the air Naruto once again reappeared below him and elbowed him, sending him higher to the air vertically. As Doto flew up 40 meters high, he was met by 3 Narutos that were 60 meters high in the sky. The 2 Narutos on the side threw the middle Naruto downwards the incoming Doto, hitting him with an enhanced axe kick. Doto plummeted down with a huge crash, the spot where he landed forming a huge crater. Naruto watched as his opponent slowly stood up from his crash site. He seems a little hurt. He should have difficulties standing by now. Kurama said. Yeah. This guy's tough, I admit. Not really. He just happened to be wearing a very advanced chakra armor. You have to destroy it first. Remember, those chakra armors have their limits. Just bombard him with your strongest jutsus. Got it. Showtime. Naruto created 4 shadow clones to protect himself while he closed his eyes and concentrated for his jutsu. Narumi felt a warm breeze gathering in the air and mentally warned her comrades through the mental link as she recognized her brother's jutsu. The Uzumaki army quickly formed hand seals for an earth jutsu. Doto's army watched in confusion as the opposing army slammed their palms to the ground and elevated the earth around them 10 meters high. As Naruto finished gathering the necessary chakra, he flashed into a dozen seal and finished by clasping his hands into a praying position as he called out his attack. Hellfire Release, Inferno's third circle. A huge blast of fire came out from Naruto's body and burned everything around him in a 30-mile radius. The earth around him cracked open as black flames rose and scorched everything on it. Those who were within the blast range immediately got consumed by the black flames. Their chakra armors were nothing as the inferno easily melted them off, destroying the main panels and electrocuting them while they burned. They screamed in agony as their bodies turned into ash. Their souls also feeling the heat of the black flames, hence the name of the jutsu. Hellfire was a legendary type of fire release long forgotten. The last people who had this Kekai Genkai have long died before the first shinobi war took place. Only those who had a very, very strong and potent affinity to fire have the power to use it. The flames of the Amaterasu produced by the Uchiha's manga Kyosherinin is an example of a hellfire jutsu. Although the Uchihas were not aware of it. Naruto's jutsu have 9 levels, with the first circle being the weakest and the 9th circle the most powerful, has the largest radius, and required the most amount of chakra. The chakra required for the first circle is equivalent to summoning a minor boss summon. Naruto had a maniacal look as he stared into Doto's eyes, as if he gazed right into his soul. Doto felt uneasy as he noticed the blonde's eyes. They were now red slits. He was thankful for his highly advanced chakra armor as he was still alive and well, although he did not notice the new cracks all over it. When Naruto cast his jutsu, Doto tried to counter it by using his ice release, Black Dragon Blizzard, but the Inferno's flames simply burned it instead of melting it. Muahahaha. Naruto laughed. Behold. You will be the first one to see and feel my ultimate piece of art. Tremble in fear. Be afraid. Recoil in despair. Cower in awe. And cry your heart out. Because my art is an explosion. Naruto cackled madly as he began weaving into a long series of seals. Shit. Narumi cursed as she watched the skies. Storm clouds were quickly gathering due to the high concentration of heat below. We need to get the hell out of here. This place will be obliterated in 30 seconds. She ordered the army. Minako quickly jumped down and grabbed the downed Nadare, taking him with them. As the Uzumaki army retreated for cover, Doto also felt the danger ahead, although not knowing what it was. Stop him. He ordered his army. Those who were brave enough charged at the blonde but were confronted by Naruto's clones. As Naruto reached the 100th seal, he called out his jutsu. Storm Release, Kami's Wrath. Silence. There was a 3-second silence. For those within the area, it seemed like a long time. After the quiet, there was a blinding flash of light. And then it happened. Thousands of lightning strikes rained down from the sky. 100 tornadoes were created and touched the already blazing ground. The fire powered the tornadoes, turning them into fire tornadoes. The strong winds blew everywhere, causing the droplets of rain to freeze, turning into hail. The area was consumed by lightning, ice, and firestorm. It was pure destruction. The wrath of Kami indeed. If someone would watch it from a distance, they would see a breathtaking, captivating, and yet at the same time, a horrifying scene. The storm went on for 10 minutes before it finally showed a decrease of power. After another 10 minutes, it finally died down. The area now looked like a wasteland. There was residual smoke. Trees were either scorched or uprooted. The earth was dry and cracked. The castle was obliterated into a pile of scorched stone. Thousands of dead bodies littered the ground. Those who miraculously survived watched in horror as they took in the scene. The Uzumaki army swept in for the kill. Not for vengeance, not of hatred, but of mercy. They ended the lives of the surviving mercenary army to release them from their misery of pain and trauma. In a certain crater, a silhouette of a certain man could be seen slowly standing up. The man took a look at his surroundings for a good 1 minute before he checked on himself. Ha 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 ha. That was the most destructive jutsu I have seen, and lived after it. Ha 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 ha. Doto laughed as he found Naruto. The blonde kept an impassive look as he began channeling chakra to his body once more, his Madara moment over. Doto was about to make another taunt when he heard loud cracking noises. He looked at his armor as it finally broke into pieces and fell off his body. His smirk immediately vanished as he realized he was completely defenseless now. He never had shinobi training and only relied on his chakra armor. For the first time in 20 years, he once again felt real fear. He tried his best not to show it but failed. Naruto casually walked towards him as he began cracking his knuckles, the same way his grandmother Tsunade does when she's about to beat up someone. For the next 10 minutes, the sounds of flesh ripping and getting pounded could be heard. After 3 minutes of beating, he finally broke down and began pleading for mercy. His cries for mercy fell on deaf ears as he received his beating. As he lay on the ground like a beaten pulp, a group of people wearing chakra armor came to him. They all removed their helmets as Doto stared at them. "Hello, uncle." Koyuki greeted coldly. "Missed me? I believe you are looking for this," she said as she showed him the hexagonal crystal. "Due to your greed and envy, you killed my father and ruined this country. You sent people after me so you could claim this crystal. The key to Snow Country's treasure. You thought this will open a safe that contains a large collection of items that you can trade for gold? Let me show what this treasure does. This was my father's final gift to me in Snow Country." Koyuki had her guards drag her broken uncle towards the rainbow glaciers, with everyone following behind. As Koyuki placed the crystal on the hexagonal pedestal, a soft humming sound could be heard. Slowly, they felt warmth coming from the generator. After a few minutes the land was no longer covered in snow. Fresh green grass and blooming flowers could be seen all throughout Snow Country's landscape. Everybody watched as a projection appeared, reflected by the rainbow glaciers. It showed a 4-year-old Koyuki talking with her father. "Believe in the future. If you do, spring will come." Sosetsu said. "Koyuki, what would you like to do when it comes?" "I'll become a princess." Young Koyuki replied. What kind of princess?" "A kind, strong one. A princess who believes in justice." "Ha ha ha ha. That's going to be very hard work. But if you don't give up and keep on believing in your dreams, one day, for sure, you will become one." Sosetsu said as he placed the necklace around her neck. "Can you see that a very beautiful princess is standing here? But I am not quite decided yet. There is one more thing that I want to become." "What is it?" "An actress." Koyuki shed tears of joy as the scene faded. "I've done it, father. I've become an actress. I'm ready to become a princess now." Time skip, 1 day. The Uzumaki army have gathered the remains of the fallen and burned them. The people of Snow Country have gathered at the old castle. They were overjoyed when they learned of Doto's crushing defeat against the Uzumaki army. In the middle of the square was a stage. On it were Doto, Fubuki, Mizuri, and Nadare bound and gagged, set into kneeling positions in front of the crowd. The crowd was murmuring among themselves as they openly pointed and glared at the four. Koyuki walked in front and all talking stopped at once. She faced the four and began to talk. "You have committed crimes against Snow Country and its people. You have stolen its riches and used it for your own personal use. You have usurped the throne and assassinated the Daimyo and tried to kill her daughter as well. If you haven't been stopped, you would have brought more destruction upon Snow Country as you have planned waging war against the 5 great countries in the elemental nations." Koyuki then unsheathed a long katana. "I, Kazuhana Koyuki, daughter of Kazuhana Sosetsu and the rightful heir to the throne, hereby declare you guilty of plunder, treason, and murder. As the bringer of justice, I sentence you to death. You no longer have the rights to say your last words." Koyuki closed her eyes and took deep breaths. As she opened them, she struck down the sword 4 times, decapitating the traitors. As the four headless bodies slumped to the floor, everybody cheered. Doto and his followers were finally gone at last. Koyuki wiped a tear as she joined Naruto and his siblings. "Father, you are avenged. You may now rest in peace." Time skip, 1 month. Land of Snow/Spring. After Doto's death, the people of Snow Country began rebuilding. With the help of Uzumaki, they were able to construct buildings that are far superior compared to the ones they had during Doto's rule. With the combined efforts of Snow and Whirlpool's scientists, they have managed to finish the generator. Snow Country was no longer covered with snow, but instead, by green grass and blooming flowers. A month after Doto's death, the country was renamed to the Land of Spring. During the month, Koyuki have formally taken position as Spring's Daimyo. The alliance with Uzushio was formally signed. Kushina and Minato paid a visit during that day. More ships came from Whirlpool bearing construction supplies and blueprints. New trade routes have been opened as well. The Daimyo asked for help as she wanted Spring to have its own shinobi village. Whirlpool agreed and asked for students to study in Uzu while the construction of the village hidden among Spring occurred. Gaku with the help of his crew finished filming the Princess Gale movie. Gaku's company was now looking for actors and actresses for their next project, The Whirlpool Princess. The battle that occurred a month ago was also made into a movie, which will be entitled as The Missing Snow. It was based on Daimyo Koyuki's real-life story. From the time when she was 4 years old up to the point where she finally claimed the throne as Snow, now Spring's, Daimyo. The movie had 2 purposes, one was for audience and income, and 2, for Uzumaki propaganda. It will be available for viewing 1 month before the Chunin exams that will be held in Konoha. Uzumaki. Uzukage Office. The Uzukage was currently signing papers regarding the Land of Spring. She straightened up on her seat as the storm commander appeared in a whirlpool shunshin. "Uzukage-sama," Kaide said as he laid an envelope on Kushina's desk. The Uzukage opened the envelope to reveal a stack of forms, an invitation card, a brochure, and a letter from Konoha. It was for the upcoming Chunin exams. Kushina smiled as she set down the papers. It's time. Chapter 17, Choosing Which Path. 6 weeks before the Chunin exams. Uzukage Mansion, Naruto's room. Choose. To preserve? Or to destroy? Choose. A powerful and ancient voice said. Naruto's eyes fluttered open. It was now morning. He had been dreaming. This was not the first time he dreamt about that unknown source of voice prompting him to choose. He sat in silence pondering about it before finally shrugging and heading downstairs for breakfast. What Naruto did not know was Hinata and Sasuke were also awake, thinking about the dream. They too have been having the same dream ever since they returned from Spring Country. Uzukage Office. Send these papers back to Konoha. Hi. Sai said. Uzukage-sama, if I may ask, how does the seal exactly work? The Hokage, Danzo, some council members, and the Umbu are the only people in Konoha who regularly check the bingo book as well as a few jonins. When the Hokage or whoever reads these papers, the seal will activate and affect their mind and put them into a kind of trance without them knowing. So even if they read Naruto's entry, who's an S rank nin in the bingo book, they will ignore that fact and allow him to partake with the Chunin examination, not seeing him as a threat. Truly, the art of Fuinjutsu is both amazing and terrifying. The things you can do with it are just endless. Commented Sai, who was very amazed. Later, Uzumaki training grounds. Gaara and his siblings have been sent by the Kazakage back to Uzumaki for their training. With them was their sensei, Baki. Along with their classmates, they were currently being briefed by the Uzukage. We have 4 weeks to train before you are sent to Konoha, and that is 2 weeks before the event. Your roles are the most important for the attack, said the Uzukage. As for the team assignments, Miho will be acting as the Jonin sensei of Naruto's team, Mio for Fu's team, and Yotakata for Tayuya's team. The Suna team will be the same with Baki as their sensei. As you have noticed, each team has a Jinchura key. Now, the 4 of you will be working on your synchronization with your respective tailed beats. You may be now friends with each other, but you still have to complete the bond for you to be able to become perfect Jinchurikis. Like Killer Bee of Kumo? Yotakata asked. Yes. You will be going to a temple similar to the one inside the giant tortoise. Minato replied. Arashi-sama will be the one to watch over your training. You four will begin your training as soon as you arrive at the island. If you four would, please follow me. After the five have left, Kushina continued. The rest of you are free to ask any sensei you wish to train you. I have already informed all Jonin about this, so they will not refuse and will transfer their current work to another if they are currently preoccupied. Feel free to use any of the training grounds. And with that, the Uzukage went back to her office. Sasuke went off to find Tobi while Hinata went to find her mother. Lee ran off to the academy for Kaze, while Karen went to the hospital to find Shizune. Yakumo also ran off to the academy for Natsuki. Tayuya and Shion remained since they wanted to be trained by Mio and Miho. Baka led Kankuro and Tamari to another ground to train. Hyuga Residence, Training Grounds. After some studying and observing, I have come to the conclusion about your dojutsu. Hitomi stated. What of it, Ka-san? Asked Hinata. You are half Hyuga and half Uzumaki. Therefore, it is just right that you either get the Byakugan or the Rinnegan. The Byakugan is already active when a Hyuga is born, only requiring for the user to learn how to wield it. While the Rinnegan normally awakens when an Uzumaki reaches the age 18 or when the user undergoes extreme training, or experiences extreme trauma. Back in Konoha, you were made an outcast due to your eyes. Yours doesn't exactly look like the ones the Hyugas have. Although impossible, I have concluded that your Rinnegan and Byakugan have combined. Normally a person cannot have two dojutsus. If one had the Rinnegan while their spouse had the Sharingan or the Byakugan, their offspring will only receive one dojutsu, depending on the dominating genes. Hanabi got the Byakugan. In your case, my Rinnegan genes and Hayashi's Byakugan genes have combined instead of overpowering each other. The only known person who had both dojutsu, Rinnegan, and Sharingan combined, was the Sage of the Six Paths himself. If my theory is right, then you will be the second person to have a combined dojutsu. How do we know if I really do have the two combined? This is where your training starts. The first part is for you to activate your dojutsu. Now, I want you to sit below that waterfall and meditate. Concentrate and feel nature around you. Once you begin feeling it, gather chakra to your eyes. I do not know what your dojutsu's name is, but you will. You will hear it in your mind once you have perfected your meditation. Hitomi said while Hinata did as ordered. Once you activate your new dojutsu, we go to the second part of your training, getting acquainted with your new powers. Begin. Uchiha Residence, Training Grounds. Tobi will be training you to increase your chakra control and capacity further by doing extreme chakra exercises. Next week, you and Tobi will be fighting one-on-one using the Susanoo. It is time for you to activate its second form, while also maintaining it for more than 30 minutes. Said Tobi. Sasuke groaned as he could already feel hell. Tobi may be a good boy, but he was bad when it came to training. Tobi was a slave driver and a sadist. Konoha Gakure. Training Ground 3. Konoha's recent graduates, the Rookie 9, were currently gathered and were discussing about the incoming exam. Combining our gathered information, we know that the exam will be divided into 3 parts. Neji said as he began writing on the sand. The first part will be a written examination with 9 questions. Its main purpose is for us to cheat and not to get caught. The 10th question is simple. We will be asked to give up since the next round will be difficult. Sasami said. Obviously, it is a trap. We'll just have to remain silent and continue to the next round. Sakura finished. Now, we need to plan about how we're going to cheat while also communicate with the others in order to share information. We will be arranged in a sitting position where there will be Chunins near us. Said Shino. As the Rookie 9 were too busy planning, they did not notice 3 other people watching them at a distance, listening to their conversation. They have a nice plan. Asuma commented. However, their plan won't work. The Chunin exams will be different compared to the ones before. Kakashi drawled as he kept his eyes on his orange book. Still, they are showing their youthfulness by working as a big team, said Guy. You say something, Guy. Damn you Kakashi and your hip attitude. Shut up. They're going to hear us. Asuma reprimanded them. Just then, a Numbu appeared behind them. Kakashi-san, Guy-san, Asuma-san. Hokage-sama wishes to speak with you. Hokage office. Thank you for coming in short notice. The Hokage began. As I'm sure you're aware by now, the Chunin examinations will be different compared to the ones before. Since Kumo and Iwa along with new other villages are participating, the council have decided to make it different. We can't appear to look weak and therefore, we must prepare a harder exam. And since our Chunin exams procedures are now common knowledge, I'm sure the audience will bore themselves to death if we kept it like that. Everyone chuckled as they realized it was true. More importantly, the exams will be broadcast live worldwide. Sarutobi said as he puffed smoke from his pipe. What? Kakashi exclaimed, stopping reading and putting his porn book in his pocket. This is why I wanted you to train your students harder. We have 6 weeks left before the exam. This event is very important to us as it will be broadcast live worldwide. If our genins make it to the finals, it will show the world that Konoha produces strong shinobi. Not only the world will see us as a strong village, this will also make us attract more contracts and business agreements. YOSH. You can trust us on this task, Hokage-sama. We will make sure our students burn to their brightest as their flames of youth show the world their dash. Everybody else in the room just sighed while the taijutsu master went on with his speech. And if not, I will make 500 laps around Konoha. Guy finished, striking a pose. Very well. The Hokage said. You are dismissed. Make sure you do not inform your genins about the change in the examinations as it would be unfair. Sarutobi said as he pointed at his crystal ball. They have a nice plan. And I'm glad they're working together. Just make sure they will still work together even if they find about the new exam. Konoha stood strong and won the war because of teamwork. Remember that. The Hokage went back to puffing smoke and signing paperwork when the Jonin senseis left. They never noticed another presence outside the room who was also listening to their conversation. Pfft. Teamwork my ass. If it wasn't for the Uzumaki clan you wouldn't have won the war. You repaid Uzu by selling her to her enemies, traitor. Thought Kabuto as he stealthily left the Hokage tower. Ah, whatever. Konoha will be no more after the third part of the exam. At least I know the third part is still a tournament, although I'm not sure what kind. Uzukage-sama will be pleased when she learns about the exams being broadcast live. About 5 minutes after Kabuto left, Danzo and Jiraiya entered the office. Danzo, Jiraiya, what news do you bring? Greeted Sarutobi. The infiltration in the third city failed. Danzo began. Like all other spies sent by other villages, they have been captured and executed publicly. The spies I sent to Otagaku haven't sent word yet. Let's just hope your root have made it inside Oto and weren't captured, or worse, killed. Do not worry about them. I have confidence in my root. As for me, I have successfully integrated Gata's remaining assets to Konoha and my spy network. Said Jiraiya proudly. Those who refused to join were of course killed. Good. Make sure to keep surveillance about possible threats. Will do, Hokage-sama. Jiraiya and Danzo both said as they bowed and left the office. Uzushiagaku. Uzukage office. Uzukage-sama, there's something you need to know. Kaide, what is it? Our spy tower near Land of Lightning's mountains have spotted a floating island as huge as 4th City headed southwest. Below the floating island was a navy fleet moving along them, probably as escorts. Have you identified who these people might be? Hi. Upon closer inspection, we have found that everyone in the fleet were wearing hitaites, confirming our suspicions that they were shinobi from Sora no Kuni. Saragakur? So they're back. And so it seems. This can't be good. What are your orders? Send 4 squads of Storm and have them infiltrate the island and the fleet. Find out their purpose. I want news in 1 week. 1 week later. Report. Saragakuer is headed towards Fire Country. Their objective is to destroy Konoha. We have calculated their speed and concluded that they will enter Fire Country's borders in 3 weeks. We cannot allow that to happen. They will only ruin our plans. Here are your orders: have a dozen airships and warships intercept Sky Village. I want you and Minato-kun to lead 2,000 of our strongest storm operatives and eliminate the threat. The land of Sky must be wiped out within 1 week. Now move. Konohagakuer. Hokage office. Sensei. Sarutobi looked up and was quick to jump away from his seat as the windows crashed because of Jiraiya. Damn it, Jiraiya. Use the dem door. Sorry, Sensei. But doors are too simple. And besides, I have urgent news. What is it? My spies located near Water Country have spotted a huge floating island along with a fleet headed towards Fire Country. Sensei. How does this island look like? It looked like a temple. The design looked ancient. Saragakuer. It's the land of Sky. Jiraiya, I want you to find out where exactly they're headed and what they are doing in the elemental nation's domain. There will be no stopovers for you, Jiraiya. Meaning, no time for your research. This is important. Find out about Sky and report back to me as soon as possible. Jiraiya felt the air of seriousness from the Hokage. He nodded and left the office. Sarutobi sighed and called for his Hidenumbu. Hokage-sama. One of you get me Narashikaku and Hyuga Hayashi. One of you go to our weapons department and make sure all equipment are at perfect condition. One of you go to the barrier corps and tell them to double the number of people patrolling. I will be going there later to have our barrier doubled. I want sealing and barrier teams by then. And oh, one of you inform my secretary to have my office windows fixed and replaced by a double thick glass. Understood, Hokage-sama. Unknown location. Arashi along with the 4 Jinchuriki have traveled to a faraway and isolated island. The island could not be found by normal means since it was hidden among the clouds. Meaning, it was high in the sky. In the entrance was a golden torii as huge as a village gate. The floating island was circular and had 9 waterfalls. Each waterfall had a carving of a tailed beast in gold. In the main center of the island was a huge tree in 21-meter diameter and about 300 meters tall. 2 months ago, Moroka had a vision of U4 training to become the perfect Jinchuriki. She gave the description of the place for us to find. Storm operatives have only just found about this place 2 weeks ago. After spending time here and observing the place, we have concluded that this place had been created by the sage himself for the Biju and their host. He must have seen the future and learned about Jinchurikis. On with the lesson. The first step on becoming a perfect Jinchuriki is by fighting your own self. The second is by harnessing your Biju's chakra where you will be able to use chakra mode. The third and final step is synchronization, where you undergo tailed beast mode after successfully becoming one with your Biju. Said Arashi. Time to get started. Go to your respective waterfalls and begin meditating. Conquer your inner self. Good luck. Arashi said as he produced 3 clones. The clones following one Jinchuriki, while the original Arashi followed after Naruto. Naruto's mindscape. So, you have come. Have you decided yet? A familiar voice asked. Naruto turned around and gasped. In front of him was, well, himself. Except there were a little difference. The other person's eyes were purple and had ring patterns around it. He also had 2 horns. Are you my inner self? Naruto asked. Ah. I guess you could call me that. So, have you decided yet? He asked once again. What do you mean? Are you going to preserve, or are you going to destroy? I'm really confused. Is this my test? Aren't we supposed to be fighting for dominance? Ha ha ha. That was funny. If you were like the other Jinchuriki, you would have to fight your inner self. But you aren't like them. You are me. I am the one who'd been asking you to choose in your dream. Instead of fighting, you must decide whether you'd preserve or destroy. You're giving me a headache. Would you please speak in a normal Foshian and not in weird riddles? If you haven't figured it out yet, I am you. Well, Of course, you are. You're my inner self, right? Asked an annoyed Naruto. Yes. But you do not understand. However, you will once you have made your choice. To destroy. Or to preserve. Uzushiagakur. Hyuga Residence Training Grounds. It has been a week since Hinata began meditating to activate her dojutsu. Every day, she would try to meditate for 8 hours, only stopping to eat and drink. Hinata was still currently sitting at the middle of the small waterfall. Choose. To preserve? Or to destroy? Choose. A whisper said while she was meditating. It's that voice again. Hinata thought as she opened her eyes. She gasped when she found herself in what looked like a sewer, instead of her meditating area. You have come, at last, child. Said someone. Uchiha Residence Training Grounds. Sasuke lay at the ground panting as he and Tobi finished a spar. For the past week he had been training hard until he tired himself out. As of now he was just as exhausted. He closed his eyes while he regained his breathing. Choose. To preserve? Or to destroy? Choose. Sasuke heard as he felt a soft breeze. It's that voice again. Sasuke thought. He breathed a long and deep sigh as he opened his eyes but gasped when he noticed he was not in his training ground. He stood up and checked his surroundings, realizing he was in a huge sewer. Shrugging, he walked off to explore the place. This way, my child. The others are waiting. A voice said. It was the same voice as the one he had been hearing in his dreams. Naruto's mindscape. What? Patience, my dear boy. I will be explaining things soon as they arrive. They? Who? Naruto asked, confused. Just then, he heard splashing of water, indicating someone's approach. Ene Naruto-kun? What? What's going on? Hinata asked, not noticing the other person with him. Naruto was surprised to find Hinata inside his mindscape. But before he could respond to her question, he heard more splashing of water. He and Hinata turned to find Sasuke approaching. Hey guys! You're here as well. What's going on? Sasuke asked. Naruto simply shrugged as he pointed towards his look-alike. Now that the three of you are here, I will be explaining things. But before that, let's have our seats, shall we? He asked as he waved his hands and 4 couches appeared. He took a seat while the other 3 nervously followed him. Now, for starters, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Akatsuki Hagoromo. Or as many knew me, I am the Sage of the 6 Paths, founder of Ninshu. The sage held out a hand as the 3 were about to speak. No interruptions. Now, as you 3 have grown in Uzushio, I'm sure you are now familiar with the task I assigned to the Akatsuki, now Uzumaki clan. And that is by maintaining balance. I, the sage, am not necessarily good. I am also evil in some way you may call it. In passing judgment, I and my descendants must choose whether to destroy something that causes imbalance to the world, or to give them a second chance. Balance is not always achieved through peaceful ways, it can be also achieved through death and destruction. I have been asking you 3 to choose ever since you freed Snow Country. You 3 will play a very important role to the world's future, as it is your destiny. You will forge your own path should you choose to preserve, or to destroy Konoha and the other 3 villages who desired to destroy our clan before. I will be only guiding you once you have made your decision. Whether you choose to preserve or to destroy, I will be helping you in the future. I'm sure you 3 might be wondering why I chose you. That will be answered once you have passed your judgment. You may now speak. Surprisingly, it was Sasuke who spoke first. I came from Konoha. And I'm going to judge them starting with my family. When I was younger, I never understood why the whole village hated Naruto. My family, who's supposed to be the police task force and protecting the people, were included to the mobs formed to attack one single child. I have also noticed that everyone was cold. Those who were showing kindness were being treated harshly, turning them into angry and heartless people. I have already imagined what would happen when I returned to Konoha for the exams, when I would see my old family. And I can no longer call them my family as I have decided that I am now a part of the Uzumaki clan, not the Uchiha. I am only starting to understand what you are talking about, but now I am sure in my answer. I will be choosing the path of destruction. I will become a part of Konoha's destruction. The sage nodded, satisfied with his answer. It was Hinata who spoke next. I too also came from Konoha. I was from a clan where the same family members are being enslaved, and that was the one thing I hated the most about the Hyuga. During the time I was still heiress, it was my dream to abolish the caged bird seal and merge both houses into one. When my title of heiress was put at stake, I had to fight for my clan. Sadly, I lost. The worst part was, the same people whom I aimed to save were the ones to drag me down. My decision stands with the beliefs of the Uzumaki clan. I will be passing judgment by choosing to destroy. Higoromo nodded approvingly. Now they were looking at Naruto, waiting for his judgment. The world has been imbalanced indeed, since the beginning of the Great Shinobi Wars. Konoha, Kumo, Kiri, and Iwa have played their parts to it. Even our ally, Suna, who condemned their own by making an incomplete sealing of a demon inside a child. Konoha have done atrocities that I myself have experienced. I was the village's scapegoat. Kumo have been kidnapping children and raising them as their own to make their expendable weapons, also making the kidnapped children breeding factories in the future. Kiri, they were killing their own people. Iwa have produced the most number of rogue criminals. The elemental countries see Jinchuriki only as weapons. They shun them away and treat them wrongly for having a demon sealed inside them. Tailed beasts were also treated unkindly as they were sealed into humans meant for war. There are a lot more bad things that have happened and will continue if my clan doesn't act sooner. My choice, obviously, is to maintain peace. By maintaining peace, there have to be a sacrifice. Peace can be also attained even if it means by destroying. Very well. You three have chosen to gain peace by forging the path of destruction. As I've said, whether you choose to preserve or to destroy, I will be guiding you. Hinata, you have been meditating for a week, trying to unlock your eyes. I'm very impressed you and your mother figured it out. You will receive your inheritance once you turn 18. For now, I will be upgrading your eyes to the Tensagen. You will understand what it is once you unlock it. You, Sasuke, have been also training your manga Kyushari Nan. In order to help you with Konoha's destruction, I will be giving you the eternal manga Kyushari Nan to keep you from going blind and to also use your eye to its full potential. You will be unlocking your gift once you turn 18 as well. Lastly, Naruto. Your Rinnegan have been dormant even though you were able to use it twice before. I will be unlocking it now for you to get used to it. The destruction of Konoha is not the only thing that's going to happen. Be prepared. You will unlock the rest of your gifts once I deem you fit to use it. Now, you have been asking yourselves why I chose you. It's simple, really. Uzumaki Hinata and Uzumaki Sasuke, you two are the reincarnation of my children. Hinata, who have descended from both Senju and Uzumaki, you possess the soul of Asura. While you, Uzumaki Sasuke, who have descended from both Uchiha and Uzumaki, are the reincarnation of Indra. The three children were silent as they stared at the sage. Higoromo closed his eyes and when he opened them, they were now different from being purple. His eyes were now red. The ripple patterns were still there but on it were 9 black tomos. Once again he spoke in a riddle-like and sagely manner. Akatsuki Senju Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, you have chosen your path. You have made your answer. You have won against your inner self. You won't be needing to go on to the second and third stage to become the perfect Jinchuriki. For you have already mastered your training. All you have to do is befriend the remaining Bijus. This is my first task for you to do. I still don't understand, said Naruto. You will, in time. For I am you. You are my reincarnation. You are the second coming of the Rakuta Sennin. Exit Mindscape, back to the island. Arashi and the 3 other Jinchuriki watched nervously as they waited for Naruto to finish his battle against his inner self. Gaara, Fu, and Utakata have already finished theirs long ago. Just then, they saw Naruto's body glow and emit a red pulse of chakra, making them step backwards. He sent out a total of 6 chakra blasts before the glow around his body died out. After the 6th pulse, they noticed Naruto's hair color change into a shade of red, like Kushina's. It was at this moment Naruto began to open his eyes, revealing purple ringed ones. Everyone hold hands while I contact the rest of the family, I have some things to show you. Naruto stated as he stood up, his eyes making contact with theirs. Time skip, 1 week. Uzushiagakur. Uzukage office. Mission success, Uzukage-sama. Sky Country and its people have been eliminated. The island had been destroyed into rubble while the fleet have been captured and is being brought to First City for further research. Konoha-gakur. Hokage office. What do you mean nothing? Hiruzen shouted. Jiraiya cowered in fear as he felt his sensei's killing intent. He knew that his sensei knew about him stalling, visiting a few hot springs to peep. Sensei, I mean, when I arrived at the place where the floating city was spotted, I found nothing. There was also no fleet below. I investigated the path it took, and there were traces of destroyed and fallen rubble. Obviously there had been a battle, that I strongly believe. But there were no corpses. I do believe they have been taken care of as well by whomever attacked them. The Hokage took calming breaths as he sat down, thinking. Have you made any investigation about their sudden disappearance? Who do you think attacked them? I'm sorry sensei, but I have no answer to that. Sky is the only known nation who has an air force. But do not worry, I've already tasked my spy network to figure it out. That won't be necessary. Someone said as the door of the office opened, revealing a bandaged man. Danzo. What do you mean? Asked Hiruzen. Have you seen the newest movie yet? I have no time to watch movies. I'm already busy because of the upcoming event. Then make time. Watch this movie. It was recorded and really happened. I've already made an investigation about the movie producer and found out just now that it was indeed based on a real story, especially the battle. What are you talking about? What is this movie? The movie is entitled, The Missing Snow. It was made available for viewing just this morning and is already climbing to the top list. I strongly suggest for the whole council to watch it. Very well, I trust your word. This must be very important for you to endorse it and ask the whole council to watch. Send an umbu for me once you've watched it. We will have a meeting after. Danzo said as he exited the office. I wonder. Mused the Hokage as he began puffing smoke. Kumo Gakur. Yujito. Remember your duty. You fully transforming into Nibi will be the signal for our invasion to start. L and M will be your teammates during this mission. B's team will be entering the exams as well. Make Kumo proud and show the world of our strength. I'm counting on you. Hi. Raikage-sama. Iwagakur. Rashi. Han. You will be acting as Jonin senseis of the other two genin teams. Kurachuchi, make sure you make Konoha see their mistake of blackmailing us. Destroy their genins. Show no mercy. Akachuchi, make sure my granddaughter performs her duty. Hi. Chuchikage-sama. Kiragakur. Kojuro, be more confident. Hi, Mizukage-sama. I will do my best. Good. Now, lead your teammates to victory. Time skip, 2 weeks. Konoha-gakur no Sato. Izumo and Katetsu yawned as they watched people come and go. Due to the incoming event, security have been tightened and so the 2 gate guards were joined by 6 more. The 2 stood in attention as the hidden umbu alerted them about incoming visitors. The gate guards waited in silence as they approached the gate. There were 12 of them and all of them were wearing red hooded cloaks with gold swirls. They immediately recognized them as the group from Uzu. As they arrived at the reception desk, they removed their cloaks. As the sun reflected, the guards noticed their unique hitayates. The cloth was royal red while the plate was gold. The Uzushiagakur swirl could be easily seen because of the crimson red engraving. The Konoha guards immediately recognized the one who was the exact replica of the Yondaime Hokage, with the additional 3 whisker marks on each cheek. Naruto was wearing dark red armor. In the front of the chest plate was the Senju clan symbol while in the back was the Uzumaki clan symbol. Beneath the armor, he was wearing the standard Senju clothing. Naruto's usually unkempt hair was running down smoothly through his shoulders, resembling his to Hashirama's. Next they recognized was the banished Uchiha. Like Naruto, Sasuke was wearing dark red armor and beneath it was the regular Uchiha clothing. In front of the chest plate was the Uchiha crest and the Uzumaki at the back. His long hair was untied making it look like Madara's. Hinata and the rest wore their usual attire. Although on top of their regular clothing, they were all wearing royal red long vests, the Uzumaki crest in gold, stitched in each side of the front vest and one at the back. Beneath their clothing, everyone including Naruto and Sasuke wore a full-body chainmail applied with seals making it extremely light and comfortable and yet very strong, for added protection. Additionally, the chainmail could only be seen by the wearer. A crowd of Konoha citizens and shinobi was starting to gather at the gate and were ogling at the Uzushio party. Most of the higher-ranking shinobi were eyeing Naruto and Sasuke, mainly because they looked like Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. You two realize you just made yourselves a bigger target, right? What happened to laying low? Asked Hinata through their mental link, making the others snicker. Don't blame me, it was Naruto's idea. Sasuke defended. Yeah, and you were enthusiastic with the idea anyway. Snorted Naruto. Well, it's really cool. I know. Anyway, it's just right. We're both descendants of Konoha's founders. You have the Eternal Mangakyo, I have the Mokuton release. It's just perfect and ironic since we will be destroying this place later. Anyway, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable with them ogling at us. If you will notice, there's a crowd gathering here, and it's growing. I might just activate my Tensagen and begin blasting people. Said Hinata. Mio and Miho were aware of this and decided to break the silence before the three started killing people. Ever since the sage visited them, the three became more interested in raining death and destruction. They figured it was because of the path they have chosen. Ahem. Mio coughed. We're here for the Chunin exams. Here are our passes. Said Miho. Oh. Yeah. Right. Izumo said as he was awakened from his stupor. Just please sign with your names here and you may enter. Said Katetsu. After the Uzushio party finished logging in, they began marching inside the city to look for a hotel to check in. As they walked past the crowd, they heard whisperings and murmurings. Most of it coming from the younger ones. Did you see him? Yes. It's him. He played an important role in the ending of Princess Gale. Yeah. He was also one of the actors in the movie The Missing Snow. Whoa, do you think he's giving away autographs? The adults, on the other hand, were openly pointing at Naruto while the others also noticed the twins, muttering things such as them being the Yondaime's children. Whoa. What happened to Demon Brat? Naruto asked. We're not sure, Otauto. Replied Miho. Just try not to kill them yet, alright? We'll have time for that later. Said Mio. Yeah, alright, I'll try. Konoha's Rookie 9 happened to be at the barbecue restaurant and noticed the Uzushio group passing. Hey guys, look. Said Tenten, pointing at the visitors. It's Sasuke-kun. Squealed Sakura. He's such a hottie now. Said Ino. HN. So, that Naruto is also participating with the exams. I wonder how strong he is. Mused Sasami. He's just an actor, Sasami-chan. I'm way stronger than him. Boasted Kiba. Kiba, just because he's an actor it doesn't mean he's already weak. Remember Kakashi-sensei's words to look underneath the underneath. He could be very strong. Said Shino. It is by fate for us to be fighting against each other in the battlefield. This time, I will be sure to avenge my father. Neji said as he stared at Hinata's back. Troublesome. Muttered Shikamaru. Koji didn't say anything as he was too busy eating barbecue while the others weren't looking. Unknown location. The 8 remaining Jinchurikis will be gathering at Konoha. Once the exams are over, we will attack them while they are still recovering after the fighting. Here are your assigned targets. The masked man said as he gave his followers folders. Understood, Madara-sama. Zetsu, how's our army? In 2 weeks, they will be ready Madara-sama. I'm already modifying their bodies to be able to fight and think strategies. Good. Soon, the 4th Shinobi War will begin. That's it for part 7. Thank you for watching and see you on the next video.